W297CL Levittown.
This is the Independence Blue Cross Bowl Session, presented by SEPTA, a weekly recap of your 2024 Phillies, broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's. Tonight's show is brought to you by Team Toyota, BCWSA, The Capitol Grill, Independence Blue Cross, and SEPTA. Now, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Tommy Greene.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chickies and Pete's on Route 73 in Marlton, New Jersey. This is the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session radio show. It can be heard on WBCB 1490 AM and 107.3 FM, in addition to being live streamed on the WBCB radio website, www.wbcb1490.com, and Chris isn't on YouTube as well, WBCB Sports. Just a word about the celebrities on tonight's show. My co-host,
that would be you, Dan,
is well known. Thank you, Tommy. But these are the guys that you come to see and get autographs from, and anybody that makes it to the major leagues is really a special athlete. And like all the others who've made it, so are these guys. Tommy Greene, our co-host, helped lead the Phillies to the 1993 National League pennant. He won 16 games. He and some other fellow named Kurt Schilling led the team in victories that year.
Yep.
But Tommy only had 4 losses.
How about that? Smoke and mirrors.
16-4. And, of course, he'll go down in the history books as one of only 14 no-hit pitchers in Phillies history. May 23rd, 1991.
That's right. You got it right that time.
Olympic Stadium, Montreal, Canada.
Yeah. Getaway day.
Number 49, Tommy Greene.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
You make me feel young again. It makes me feel like we're playing hearing that voice say your name again.
Always, always.
And our special guest tonight was one of the top young some others, like Ranger Suarez, came up through the Phillies system and was considered a good enough prospect that the Phillies were able to package him with Jeff Geary and Michael Bourne and trade him to Houston for Brad Lidge.
How about that?
Who was perfect in saves in 2008 and helped bring the Phillies a World Series championship. This guy went over to Houston and was a pretty good pitcher. In fact, that's how we were able to acquire a package that included Brad Lidge and a player to be named later who was Eric Bruntlett, who scored the winning run, Tommy, in the 2008 World Series championship.
There's a lot come out of that.
And now, Brandon Duckworth is a scout for the New York Yankees. He has been influential in a couple of Yankee trades and drafts. Having a nice round of applause for former Phillies pitcher, now Yankees scout, Brandon Duckworth.
Oh, man. You still got that. You want to get on the mound right now.
Hey, with what they're getting paid right now, you even know more than me.
I'd be good for one pitch. I'd start something, that'd be it.
Now, Brandon, why don't you introduce our second guest tonight?
Oh, this is my son, Easton. He's Mr. Baseball / swimmer. So he had the night off tonight, so he had the good fortune to come and listen
How
to
old?
this whole thing. He's just turned 13,
Oh, my God. To be 13 again.
right?
To be 13.
We would throw today, and then tomorrow we'd be throwing again.
Oh, yeah. No question. No question. Now, I was looking at you when he was introducing you, tell you about some of the trade stuff, and I said, you got a little Larry Anderson in you a little bit, because he was traded when he was with Boston. When he was with Houston. The Boston for who?
Mr. Bagwell.
Mr. Bagwell. How about that?
And there's another Houston connection.
Yes, I'm telling you.
Yep,
and
yep.
then I think we end up getting Schilling from Houston.
We did.
Yep.
We
Yeah,
did.
'cause- yeah.
Did
he was
started with Baltimore.
Yes.
Yeah, he started
originally,
with Baltimore.
correct?
I met him. I pitched against him a lot in the minor leagues.
Oh,
yeah, when he was with the Orioles. But he was in the bullpen with Houston.
Yeah.
He was.
That's how we
I
got
didn't know
him.
that.
And then we traded a hard-throwing right-hander whose name escapes me. One of the more technically, Bob Morrison. Who was it?
What
that-
year you think?
that-
He's Pop's pretty good at this
Yeah,
stuff too.
he was a pretty good pitcher. That we
What year? Was it the Get Chill or was it?
to get Kurt Schilling. Yeah.
That was in '92. So
Well, listen, this guy, long-time general manager at Chickies and Pete's, and what a great job he did promoting our radio show, my summer nights at the ballpark. Jason Grimsley.
he was my roommate when I come over from the Braves.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh
Sinker
my
baller,
God!
right? Wasn't he a big sinker?
Big. I mean,
Heavy sinker.
he got better. He was a starter when I come here.
Right.
When I was with the Phillies, he was my roommate, and you talking about a piece of work. I mean, I loved him. I mean, he was a great dude. Yeah, but he got his career. I mean, when he went to the bullpen, because he couldn't throw it through that opening. His ball.
It moves so much, right?
Oh my God, his ball. I've never seen nobody. There was one other guy, Kevin Kaufman. I don't know if you ever remember that
him.
name, Kevin. A little bit before you. Sinker that like moved like this, sort of like it was like Billy Swift. Did you ever see Billy Swift?
I don't.
He was with the old Giants. It broke twice. I faced Billy. It sunk and then it had another gear. It had teeth, man.
Yep.
I mean, it was unbelievable. That was Jason, but he had no command.
Yep.
I mean, he was all over the place, and he had a good hook. And then all of a sudden, I mean, he kind of found his niche. It was in the bullpen. He found and he pitched forever, for a long time. Ended up being with the Royals. in the
I
bullpen.
remember him from the Royals.
And obviously he got caught up in the, in the steroid thing.
Yeah. There's
and
a
all
few
that
people
stuff.
that did in that.
Well, I mean, but it is what it is.
Yep.
But his ability to throw strikes,
Yep.
which that stuff doesn't do, make you do those strikes.
Because if it goes big this way, and then they have that big one going the other
And
way.
he had that.
Good
you
luck.
know? And then his command sort of came.
Right.
And he allowed him to be a late inning guy. That to me he was a good 7th, 8th inning guy, setup guy for the guy, because
Right.
he got ground balls like nobody's business, man.
Oh, jeez.
So he was good.
We've passed the halfway point of the 2024
Yeah.
baseball season. I'm going to ask you guys to reflect on the first half and maybe look into the future and see
He's got a
what
good crystal ball.
possibilities you foresee, performance-wise, player personnel-wise. But first, I wanted to start by asking you guys this, because I saw you in your younger days when you were Tommy started with Atlanta, but
Don't hold that against me, guys.
Oh, I don't at all.
Not a bad thing to come out of Atlanta. They put up some pitching. Boy.
But here's the reason I thought it might be germane tonight, because tomorrow at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Michael Mercado is going to make his major
I haven't
league
seen him.
debut.
He's nasty.
I was going to ask you how that is.
He's got good stuff.
Go ahead, tell us, Brandon, about it.
Give us a little scouting report, since that's your forte a little bit.
Well, I can't give you grades on the guy, but he's got a tremendous arm. It was a matter of him just finding the zone. I believe they got him also from Tampa, where
Christopher Sanchez.
Yes, where they got him, and so. You see this kid, a projectable frame, like he's going to fill
big
out.
Boy? He's a big
probably
boy?
like 6'4".
Yeah,
but he's lanky.
Yeah,
real lanky.
I don't know what none of that lanky means. I've never had none of that.
How tall are you? So you're 6'4".
I'm a little bit over 6'4", Tommy, but I was always a different build. I was 225, 230. Those guys are like 210.
Yeah,
that 15, 20 pounds makes a big difference.
Big difference. So, he's got great stuff, tremendous stuff. It's a matter of throwing strikes, like with any of them, any of the young kids that come in.
Well, that's the thing. People always ask me, the kids, like doing things these days. They come in, well, how hard do you throw? I said, don't matter. Do you get people out? 100%. I said, great to have a good arm. Great. And I said, we grew up where we didn't see the numbers on the TV or anything. I
wish we still didn't.
But
honestly,
I said it's all about getting people out. And I said if you can, and the key to advancement is your command as a pitcher. Mm-hmm. We're talking about pitching here. Is command, learning what you need to do to make you tick, and you're making those little steps every year at year. But the key to the next year when you start over, it's not starting over where you were the year before.
Correct.
Pick up where you left off at. In the things that you're doing. It could be mechanically, could be mentally. But it also comes in together to help you be more consistent as a ball player. And that's the difference between big league guys and minor league guys is the consistency.
And especially today, because pretty much all the kids, what are they doing? They're going to, I call them throwing ranches, because nobody's really teaching them how to pitch.
Yeah.
Right? Fundamentals, foundation of the delivery, what works, what doesn't. They're teaching velocity, pitch shapes, pitch design, stuff like that, which is good. Mm-hmm. But it's like going out there with your hair on fire. If you don't know what you're doing, it's going to be hard to repeat throw strikes. Correct?
If you're learning, it's good to learn stuff like that, which is great. Knowledge is power, man.
Yes.
But it's if you don't have that command and you're just throwing that pitch rather less than commanding it with an idea of what you want to do, and you end up being up over the middle plate all the time. There's one thing you're going to do. You won't have to worry about gaining weight because you're going to be running around the ballpark backing up bases, dude.
Yes, you are.
So that's what that happens.
100%.
Yeah.
Can I get each of you to tell us about your MLB debuts, Tommy?
Yeah. Mine started, I will never forget that. It was in Cincinnati. Got educated to what a big league umpire was right off the bat. Jody Davis was my catcher. Believe it or not, he caught my first game.
Cubs.
He was with the Cubs, but he come over to the Braves. And God, what a big dude, man! He sat behind the plate. He was like, you couldn't see the umpire. He was a massive guy, And I can't remember who the guy was, but my first pitch, I'm gonna put these people like that's the plate. It was to Herm Winningham was the leadoff hitter, and Jody didn't sit down the middle. We never sit down the middle with the Braves. We didn't, but like halves. Early in the count, we sit on the halves, and then if we let our movement, while whatever we had, because if we missed a little bit, it ran on us. They run to the corner. That was strike one, right? Mm-hmm. And then we can start and that allows you to get that feel going and repeat. But my first pitch wasn't even close to even thinking about being on the corner. It hit right here. It was about that high. It was almost right down the middle. It was out of half. And the umpire looked over Jody's and said, ball. And he didn't move. He was staring at me. He was trying to say, I want to see the way this kid's going to act. Because he knew it was my big league debut. I got the ball, back up, threw the same pitch. Strike one. Never say. That's what I really remember about that day. I ended up getting a no decision. Ended up going like 5 and something. Got to give up a couple runs, but my mom and dad got a chance to be there.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
I don't think I gave up a home run in that Homer Dome there. That's that playing in that ballpark was like playing with a Titleist, you know. I mean, that ball flew out of that place, man. Especially they had the doors open going to the old ballpark there. It was on the river. It was unbelievable.
Fellas, we have to take our first commercial break.
No problem.
Producer Chris Irmer tells us. And by the way,
he's the boss man.
I want to give Chris credit for coming up with Jason Grimsley as the pitcher that the Phillies dealt. I knew if you didn't have it, Bob Morris, and listen.
And I was thinking, it was on the tip of my tongue, too.
We're going to come back after the commercials and hear about Brandon Duckworth's Major League debut, Easton. So stay with us, and we'll be right back after these words.
You remember Old Riverfront, don't you?
Yep.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back. Indulge in our sweet and spicy sticky lobster tails with cilantro and lime. Enjoy Chicky and Pete's chilled crab tacos bursting with snowy white lump crab meat. Treat yourself to our mouth-watering seafood boil with crab legs, shrimp, clams, mussels, and more. Or dive into our tasty seasonal herb mussels, prepared to perfection in our delicious zesty broth. It's the summer of shellfish, only at Chickies and Pete's.
Hi, Paul Muller from Team Toyota of Langhorne. If you've been waiting to buy your next pre-owned vehicle due to surging used car prices, then we have some great news for you. With over 45 used cars under $20,000, we have something for every budget. Plus, with our MVP pricing guarantee, warranty forever, and free maintenance for 1 year, you can rest assured that you're getting a reliable used car at a great price. Visit us in Langhorne on Route 1 or shop online at teamlanghorne.com.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
I SEPTA Philly. I SEPTA Philly. I SEPTA Philly.
I take SEPTA so I never miss tip-off.
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
I don't have a car.
Do you know how expensive parking is?
I take the Broad Street line to all the games.
I ride the bus.
I ride the train and the subway.
I set my lineup when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, SEPTA is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Tommy Greene.
Joining Tommy Greene and me, Dan Baker, tonight here at Chickies and Pete's in Marlton, Brandon Duckworth, former Phillies pitcher and now a scout for the New York Yankees. You know, we're lucky enough to have a wonderful following who attend most of our shows. Next week, we're going to be at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington.
Yeah, it's by my neck of the woods.
Yes, and Tommy and I will be there next week with one of the Phillies prospects from the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
That would be awesome,
and
man.
I'll find
One
out.
of those kids.
Hope to find out the identity of next week's guest tomorrow. But meanwhile, before we get to Brandon Duckworth's Major League debut as a pitcher, I want to thank Brian McDonald from Wilmington for coming up, and Mark Weissner and Mike Flaherty from Northeast Philadelphia, Jack and Ellen Foreman from Collegeville.
That's the crew,
and,
man.
Noah Weinstein. And is that your uncle with you, Noah, that I see out there? Well, anyway, it's wonderful to see you. Appreciate you and your support. Tommy Greene was just telling us about his Major League debut as a pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. Tomorrow, the Phillies rookie Michael Mercado will make his Major League debut as the starting pitcher for the Phillies at Wrigley Field against the Chicago Cubs. Now, I know that Brandon's debut occurred with the Philadelphia Phillies. Brandon, what do you remember about that game?
Oh, heck.
This will show how old we are.
August 7th, 2001. It was only about 100 degrees, so about 140 on the turf. Yeah. But I was able to come in, and I got to pitch against San Diego. Ended up getting the W, and I got my first knock, all in one game.
Dude, you're my
That's
hero.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're my hero, man.
I might have been happier about the knock.
I know. It's all about the swinging, man. I missed that. I miss it already.
Oh, for sure. So it was a great day against San Diego. I think I went 6 and gave up 3. Pitched pretty well, but, obviously your childhood dreams come to fruition. Parents are in the stands, and, it's hot. It's in Philly. It's just like,
turf,
wow.
Like
turf.
mine. I was in
man.
Cincinnati. It was a Cincinnati. It was a day game. Mine was a day game. Was yours a day game?
No, it was a night game. It was one of those hot August.
Game. Yeah, on the turf.
As we all know, those hot August nights in Philly, and then there's no breeze in the vet, and it was just like dead heavy, and you're just like, oh.
I think that's one of the hottest times. I've been on the mound. I remember pitching at the vet, and they put it was like, I don't know how hot the outside was, but they put a thermometer in between me and Dutch on the turf. And before game time, it was a Sunday afternoon. It was against the Giants, too. I won't never forget.
Every bit of 120 plus.
No. It read on the turf in between us 160-some degrees.
Well,
and I could turn around and look at dude in center.
See all the heat.
I couldn't see him because of the
waves.
Yeah. And they had the ice thing in the runway where the guys would come in off that turf
ice buckets.
and stand and stand in it, not to cover the feet, but so the bottom of feet were burning.
Yep.
The only good thing about that is those guys were ready to catch a ball. Their feet were moving. They were ready to go.
No flat-footedness.
They would really get upset. I had I ended up pitching 7 innings that day, and it wasn't. It was a good day because I was, it wasn't taking no time. It was going.
Get it and go.
Everything was going. They loved me for that thing. Everything was.
Yep.
Pretty.
Well, as you guys know, as the Phillies public address announcer, I do the lineups from the field.
Yep.
In a suit and tie.
I can remember that AstroTurf.
Why do you do that?
Standing on that, wow. Your shoes and feet got hot quickly.
Well, I remember.
I thought, how do you guys do it for a game?
I know. I watched you. I didn't know how you did it out there on the turf with a suit and tie on. With a jacket. Oh, my God.
Well, see, I'm lucky. As soon as I do the pregame announcements, I go back up to the Fanavision control room, which is air conditioned. Not for the 24 employees who work in it, but there's millions of dollars of equipment. Scoreboard equipment.
They have to keep it cool.
Keep it cool. I tell you what, it's crazy because you get on that turf. A lot of the guys, you couldn't wear plastic spikes. None of the guys could wear plastics. They melt. So I remember Lieberthal doing exactly what you said. You'd be up the alleyway, up the ramp going up into the clubhouse, and there was a seat, and he had a big box, and he'd put his feet.
Yeah.
But all the position players, a lot of the outfielders would change into tennis shoes.
Yeah, to me that would be almost worse. At least I thought the spikes would keep you a little bit, maybe above the turf a little bit, so it won't be so hot.
But then you couldn't touch the spikes.
Yeah,
the spikes were
you
like.
You want that? It'd burn you.
Yep.
Okay, next. So what, Tommy and Brandon, would be your advice to Phillies pitcher Michael Mercado making his MLB debut tomorrow?
Oh, my God. The only thing I'd probably say it's 60 foot 6 inches away from you. Yeah, same as the ballpark in Lehigh Valley.
Yep.
Same as your high school park, wherever that was. I said it's the same thing. That was the best piece of advice I've ever got. I said the game's played in front of you just like it was back in high school. You and your catcher. Hey, have fun at it, enjoy it, and hey, you got here for a reason. Just let it happen. Yeah, that's what best thing.
Much like
do.
Tommy, I think the one thing that I would say, and I will never forget this. When I made my debut, Dennis Cook came up to me. Right? Big old Cookie. That grizzly old vet.
Oh, my God.
He came up to me, I want you to do one thing only. I'm like, all right, all ears. Here I am, this little young rookie.
No telling what comes
really
out of his
green.
mouth
He's
right
like, and it was a great piece of advice because I remember it to this day, and I always tell every kid this. When you do it, you're pitching, you hop on that mound, step off, just take a look around. You made it. It's the one and only time it'll be the first. I was just like, okay. So I took that to the mound with me. I went out, stepped off, just kind of took it all in, and then brought your focus right back in.
Well, see, I didn't ever do that. And prime example, I mean, I went to Cincinnati, did that game, but my next start was in L.A. You know, and L.A. had our number back in the day. So, I mean, I ended up pitching a pretty good ball game. I was in the 7th inning against Ramon.
Mo Martinez?
Yeah, against Ramon. And it was like nothing, and I gave up 3 in the 7th. And so we ended up losing the ball game. But I pitched well. I pitched 7, gave up 3. You know, I mean, it was a pretty good ball game I pitched. I go out the next day, and I'm doing the bucket. You know, back then we didn't make that much money back then to pay somebody.
We always had to do
whatever.
the bucket.
I mean, yeah, that was part of our job. Had to do the bucket. And the bucket during BP is, you know, we're taking the balls when the BP, like John Vukovic, who threw BP, he'd call, hey, balls. And so we had to bring the balls they threw in from the outfield up there and put them on the mound. I took it, and Luke was right beside me. I poured the balls in, and it was the first time I pitched a whole 7 innings out there the night before. It was the first time I looked up this way. The upper deck was up there. I never looked up. The way I was taught, I mean, with Leo, you know, we said, don't get caught in awe of what's around you.
Right.
I said, and the piece of advice, what I said, he said the game's played no different when you were in high school. You're 60 foot 6 inches away. Have a catch with your catcher today. You know, command what you do. Let your natural ability come out. You know, so that was when I first noticed how big Dodger Stadium was up there. Cause I mean, it was like I swear it's like straight up. It was like hanging over you. It was like that thing. It was spooky. You know.
Yeah. So that was some of the things. Like, you know, you work so hard to get there. It's always been your dream. And he's just like, take it in and then say, all right, now it's time to go to work.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And then, just like Tommy said, 60 feet, 6 inches, here you go. I'm going to go out and I'm going to do everything I can to dominate you.
And I mean, it was perfect because I was pitched the first game into L.A. I pitched it, so I didn't get to go out in the outfield like the day before and shag and go and you know, and see everything. That was my first experience was like game on, focus, you know, type thing. And then I got to enjoy it the next day. So I mean, it's pretty cool seeing all the big league parks and stuff the first time. That's
100%.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
100%.
The Phillies split their weekend series with Miami. A couple of close losses, and
they tend to give us fits sometimes. Don't they?
I think they're a little better than their record reflects. I think they've got some good youngsters.
But they had some fight in them.
But how about what Christopher Sanchez did Friday night? Brandon, you alluded earlier in the show that not only did Michael Mercado come from Tampa Bay, so did Christopher Sanchez. Are you surprised at his development? Look what he's done in the last year and a half.
I tell you what, he has grown as a pitcher probably more than I've seen anybody in a long time. Because when he was first coming up, he was a max effort thrower, always had great arm. You would see him for 3 innings and you could really dream. But then wheels would fall off. And you're like, man, the wheels kept falling off. And you're like, this guy's got great stuff. He should be able to start, but the delivery was all out of whack, much like we talk about. We're trying to overthrow.
He's tall and lanky.
Just trying to figure his body out. But then all of a sudden he slowed things down, took some off, started letting the two-seamer sink, and then all of a sudden he's got a plus changeup, plus slider at times. It was remarkable the amount of progress he made in his delivery from one year to the next.
And then confidence.
Oh, man.
He got a boatload of confidence, you know. And I wanted to ask you about him. My question was to be, what do you think's been the best thing that happened for him in the past year and a year, you know, since he come up? You know, to be – I know my thought, and my thought is he's got to watch somebody on that staff with him that is about the coolest cucumber in the park, you know.
Which one?
There's
a couple of them.
I mean, but no, I'm talking
with Ranger.
With Ranger, and he's left-handed. They pitch sort of alike, sort of, but I think Sanchez could have, better. It's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously put on a little bit of weight too, and I mean, you see the velocity just a little bit creeping up more. Because I think he always had the velocity. He chose.
He
but
learned.
I think the command's coming with the velocity now.
I think the big thing was with him is there was velocity with no command. Then he dialed it back, really started paying attention to the delivery and repeating. And then all of a sudden he got that, and then you learn to incrementally be able to ramp it up a little bit more. So he was able to add and subtract. He subtracted from what he was. Now he's starting to add to it, and then if it keeps this progression, you might see a 91 and then a 96.
Yeah.
By design, not just because of a delivery flaw or just poor timing, sequencing, and whatnot.
Tommy and Brandon, we've reached the end of the first half of tonight's edition of the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session on WBCB Radio. And we'll be back with the second half of tonight's show. Tommy Greene is going to tell us who the Phillies are trading for at the trade deadline.
Really?
And Brandon Duckworth is going to tell us who the Yankees are trading for. All of that coming up in the second half.
No chance of that.
Where's that genie bottle?
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. It's summertime, the perfect time to relax and enjoy one of our handcrafted signature summer cocktails. They're bursting with fruit flavor. Try our Blackberry Gin Fizz, Blueberry Blitz, Spicy Watermelon Margarita, Peach Cosmo, Strawberry Aperol Spritz, Beach Cruiser, or Patriot Punch. Sip, savor, and enjoy. Delectable summer cocktails only from Chickies and Pete's.
Hi, Paul Muller from Team Toyota of Langhorne. If you've been waiting to buy your next pre-owned vehicle due to surging used car prices, then we have some great news for you. With over 45 used cars under $20,000, we have something for every budget. Plus, with our MVP pricing guarantee, warranty forever, and free maintenance for 1 year, you can rest assured that you're getting a reliable used car at a great price. Visit us in Langhorne on Route 1 or shop online at teamlanghorne.com.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Tommy Greene.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. We've got another 20 minutes of show on tonight's edition of the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. And by the way, a tip of the cat, Chris Ermer. Chris Ermer is our producer and full-time WBCB employee.
That was the month of June.
He has his own show on there, too.
May was the same.
Merrill Reese, who's being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, having won the Pete Rozelle Award this year for radio and television broadcaster, who's contributed greatly to the National Football League. Merrill is also retiring as Vice President and General Manager of WBCB. But what a great job he and Pat Dion did in putting this talented but small suburban radio station in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, on the map with some great shows.
Great shows, also great people. You know, and that brings me into one of the best hires they probably did was Chris Ermer. I think that's the best. He makes things happen. He makes these shows go, man.
Hey, Chris,
you're the man, Chris. I'm telling you.
And Chris is ready to give that give up that $150,000 a year salary that they pay him because he appreciates the kind. Hey, Chris, thank you.
I think he lost his breath over that one.
You know, it's they really do. My daughter's first job out of college was at WBCB.
Yeah, wow.
Courtney, and of course she knows your wife Janine, who's how about this guy? He marries one of the top administrators at Jefferson University Hospital.
Dude.
Yeah. You know.
You remember the old long jumper, Eddie the Eagle?
Yeah.
I'm way over my skis, brother.
Oh, I think of that.
The three of us.
I think of that, the agony of defeat guy, on ABC back today. He jumps off that. He's like this over there, and then he wipes out at the end.
As long as I don't do the wipeouts, I'm good.
Well, congratulations on that one. You married up, dude.
And you know that she has helped a lot of Phillies personnel. Did she help you there, Tom? Did you need Janine's assistance?
I don't know. I don't remember. My issues and stuff I dealt with Dr. Marone back in the day.
Okay.
Well,
yeah,
I can tell you this, that she's helped Greg Luzinski and me
and
a number of others.
I tell you.
And we've had our share of surgeries
you're fighting a fight, man. I mean, Bull, is he walking now? He's a walking wreck. It's unbelievable. I mean,
you know what,
he's
though?
been through the ringer, man.
He never gives up.
Nope.
He's had some major surgeries.
Yes.
Never
Back.
complains.
Yep.
You'll never hear Bull complain. And, of course, it is Greg Luzinski, for whom this radio show is named, and who serves as its co-host for 16 years.
Yes.
And
the Bull.
did such a great
good name
job
of it.
and laid the groundwork for the rest of us. And along the way, made friends with Bob Morrison.
Yep.
And
that's how I met Bob back in the day, doing with the shows coming in, especially when they did some shows at Chicken Pizza in Warrington.
Yeah.
My wife used to, their company used to sponsor stuff with the Eagles and the Flyers and all the radio shows out of Chickies and stuff like that. And that's how I met a bunch of.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, Bob, I bet you didn't know that the Yankees are trading Juan Soto, did you? Where do you hear what Brandon Duckworth has to say?
Hold on.
I thought Judge was on the block.
I just went to AFib right there.
Well, Brandon, would you size up the American League pennant race for us and the divisional races, please?
I tell you what, it's tough. You work out of the East. I mean, they're all beasts. It doesn't matter. That's Baltimore is probably one of the best young teams out there.
They're impressive. That's what you said. They're going to be here for
a while. And now I have a feeling that with the new ownership, I think they're going to do everything they can to lock in the young talent that they have. And they have so much young talent, they can go out and get anything that they need. So, like if they need a number one starter, there's one available. They've got the prospect capital to say, you know what, we're going to make it happen. I mean, they're tremendous. We've been playing some good baseball here lately. Past couple weeks, we hit a little bit of a rut. Everybody hits that rut, right? So, but you can't deny the fact that we got two of the most premier sluggers in the game. They're unbelievable.
Unbelievable,
like
man.
What Aaron Judge is doing, and it's even overshadowing Juan Soto having an unbelievable year. Like Aaron Judge right now has 31 homers, 80-something RBIs, and he's hitting .317. That's most people's most unbelievable complete season. It's not. We're not even halfway through yet.
Yeah.
And so you're just like,
amazing.
dang, and you always have to worry about Tampa. You always have to worry about Toronto. I mean.
How about Stanton? What's his status
he
right
just got hurt. He did something to his hamstring.
He's always had some leg issues.
Well, he's wound tight. He's just a big, strong guy.
And he changed his workout and stuff during the winter. He lost. I mean, he's trying to prevent some of the stuff that happened. But I can tell you about myself. I tried to prevent a lot of stuff too. And
it doesn't matter, So the East is just crazy, and now the Central, like Cleveland's playing unbelievable. I haven't had a chance to see them live, so
they tend to just find ways to do things. I mean, they tend to have that little pitching thing that happens. They keep bringing guys. They keep coming up, next man up type guys. Yeah.
There's like 2 or 3 of their guys that are hurt. So you're like, wow, and they don't even have all their guys in the starting rotation. They just sent McKenzie down, who struggled.
And so what the Braves are going through that a little bit too. And they're starting to pitch well again now.
Yes. So watch out. So you have that. In the Central, it's a.
Kansas City's been
Kansas City has a good young kids.
Club.
Really, Bobby Witt Jr., amazing
talent.
Too now. And they're and you got Salvador Perez. It's like the fountain of youth. He just keeps getting better offensively. It's crazy.
What's the guy that come over from San Diego? Used to be with the Mets. Now Seth.
Lugo.
Lugo.
And he's dominating.
It's unbelievable.
Dominating.
It's amazing getting the opportunity.
Yep.
Sometimes,
honestly,
and he's honestly didn't. When he got that opportunity, he stuck his foot in the door and didn't let it shut.
See, when he was with the Mets,
he was really
he would struggle to get through, and he would use his curveball way too much. And then it was always a premium pitch.
But
and then it started to play backward.
They put him in the pen,
and he took off.
Yeah, I mean,
and then he learned something, kind of like Zach Greinke. Remember back in the day, I pitched with Greinke.
He's eccentric anyway.
Very eccentric, but. They moved him to the pen to just kind of keep everything going because he wanted to be into everything. He wanted to play a position, a tremendous athlete, tremendous player, right? So he got into the pen when I was there, and all of a sudden he's hitting 100, and you're like, whoa, this is future, like a John Smoltz type. Yeah. Oh, he's going to close. Well, then they moved him back in the rotation. I'm like, gosh, I don't know if that's going to work because he just seemed to thrive on the ability to play every day. That's what his big thing was.
I think you're right on that.
And then he learned that he had everything. He wasn't trying to pitch like Greg Maddux every time out. Now he had the velocity, and he could do Greg Maddux stuff, and then he took off, right?
Yeah.
So Kansas City's got a good young nucleus, and, they're just slowly building up. And then you go out to the West. You can never count out Houston, ever. Texas. Of course, coming off a World Series.
They came back and beat the Mets.
I was at the series up there, so it was crazy just to see. But, there's a lot of really good teams. It's going to be tough for some of the teams to make it into that wild card because right now, you got one team that's a 50-game winner, one of the top 4 in the leagues, and they're the wild card.
Yeah.
And there's not many 50-game teams that have won 50 games. So you're just sitting there going, wow, like in us, it's either us or Baltimore that's vying for the first wild card spot or the division title. So it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Tommy Greene, over in the National League, in fact, really for the major leagues, the Phillies have the best record of anyone.
I'll tell you.
What's going to happen in the NL? Tommy?
Well, I tell you what, looking at me. And we've talked
about
it.
No pressure.
We've talked about it all year, and we've talked about it all year. What's going to be the key of things is the health. And the first part of the year, that's been one of our pluses. Mm-hmm. Except when Trey got hurt. But the nucleus, the core, we were intact. But to see the way we started out, it comes down to pitching and defense and stuff, and what we were doing in that our starting rotation. Led the way. They paved the road and allowed our guys to get going a little bit. I think offense they didn't require to do as much to get going because we're leading. Well, we're the number 1 pitching staff in the league in baseball.
Yep.
By numbers.
And one of the top bullpens.
Yep. And to see that happen. But now we've been thrown that curveball. And then what's the key to curveballs, the nasty curveballs? You got to be able to foul it off, be able to get a little bat on it so you get a hanger.
You don't miss the heater. That's the key.
You want to foul it off. You can't swing and miss it. You got to foul it off to get that one that hangs, right? We've had some injuries, obviously, that the world knows what's happened to us. Now, what we have to do to survive this is the mentality of the next man up. I think we got to play smart baseball. We got to play, not that they want playing fundamental, but, they got to move guys over. They got to bunt guys over when they get a chance to get runs and do things. They got to do the small stuff. They can't make the errors on this routine play as far as throwing errors and stuff like that. They got to make the plays because not necessarily we're going to score as many runs as we did before. That's just us. we can talk all we want to about the other guys in the division in the National League, and it comes down to that snake down the south, the Braves, because they're a good ball club. They find a way. They've done it for years.
Always.
And now they're getting hot again as far as the pitching side of it. They scuffled a little bit, trying to find, but they've had a couple guys down there been pretty consistent with Sale and the new guy at the back end. What's his name?
Which one?
That's the black kid. I can't remember his name, but
I haven't seen them this year, so
it's I can't remember, but it's they got dealt the injury bug too. Obviously lost.
Oh, Lopez? Is it Lopez?
Yeah, Lopez. I mean, they
came from Chicago,
and they pitched well. Braves has always had that next man up mentality. No matter who it seems that pitching guy that come up always tended to do a good job. They always had that next man up mentality. You think, and then you start looking at the Central and stuff. You got a bunch of teams right there vying, with Milwaukee, the Cubs. Cincinnati's been playing a little bit better of late. They got some. Those young guys on that squad. It comes down at the end of the season with all the wild card stuff and the people that can make it, into the postseason. There's so many spots that you're very vulnerable at the end of the season for somebody getting hot and hurting you, and that's the way it is now. And it's just, I want to win the division and everything, but they got to do something. If we win it, somehow to stay and keep those juices flowing for those 5 or 6 days before they start that series.
100%.
Because it makes it, because we proved them, because we kept playing the past few years and knocked Atlanta off twice.
Well, back in the day when there was only one wild card team,
yeah,
you did not want to play the wild card team at all because they were playing for their life from basically mid-August, 1st of September, all the way through.
That was back in 2011 when Carpenter and St. Louis got hot. Dude, you didn't want to face those dudes, Carpenter and them. And that's exactly what happened to us. That's when Ryan got hurt. I was there at that ball game. And I said, you catch a pitcher that's hot, not just a team, a pitcher that he can put you to sleep.
Yes.
And that's exactly what happened.
That's what happened to us when I was down in Houston in 04 and 05. Maybe a 500 team, and then we caught fire the second half.
And then probably the biggest thing you talk to who's went through a lot of pitching issues and stuff like that, look at the Dodgers. Look out west at those guys.
They're searching for pitching now.
Oh, and they're starting to get it back,
Guess who's here in the audience tonight?
Oh, I don't know.
Mike Schmidt.
Schmitty?
No, it's not Mike Schmidt. No. Okay. We'll be back with the last segment of tonight's Independence Blue Cross Bowl session after this. Thank you.
Care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, police officers, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
Bringing in top talent is as easy as 1, 2, Key. SEPTA Key Advantage is a unique and valuable transit benefit program that gives your employees all-day, everyday access to the entire SEPTA system. That means your staff can get into the office, over to a meeting, and out for the night, seamlessly and affordably, all thanks to you. Learn how easy it is to customize a SEPTA Key Advantage program for your team at SEPTA.org/partnerprograms. That's SEPTA.org/partnerprograms.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. The summer of shellfish is back with all your favorites, including our sensational seafood boil, sticky lobster tails, chilled crab tacos, seasonal herb mussels, seafood pasta, and more. Full menu at chickiesandpete's.com. Plus, don't miss our incredible buy one, get one snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. It's summer of shellfish only at Chickies and Pete's.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Tommy Greene.
Tommy's and my special guest tonight is former Phillies pitcher Brandon Duckworth, now a scout for the New York Yankees. Brandon, how long have you been with the Yankees?
Ooh, this is year 11. Came right off the field after playing in Japan my final 2 years, and then right into the scouting big.
How'd you like Japan?
I loved it.
Did you?
Oh, it was a blast. You know, it's something, you know, you were always intrigued about as you got later on in your career. And, you know, I wanted to go over and experience it. I'd heard nothing but great things, and fortunately enough, it came through, and I was able to go over there for 2 years and loved it. My kids ended up going over. They were so young, though.
Yeah.
Only my oldest daughter can remember it, but just tremendous people, tremendous country, very clean.
Love baseball, don't they?
Oh, man. And, hey, there's not many boos, and they all have those banging on the drums and have the fight songs.
It's basically the same way down in
Latin America?
Latin America, the same way.
Just minus a few of the negatives.
Yeah. I mean, but they're always. It's like a big party. You know?
100%. And they are there, and it's just a constant. And it was a tremendous time, an experience that I'll never forget, and very fortunate to have been able to have in my life.
Each week on the Bull Session, our co-host expert picks our Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Phillies Player of the Week. Tommy Greene, who is it this week?
Well, I tell you what, it's been pretty much simple. I don't think I've picked a pitcher yet, but I'm going with one now because it's well-deserved to be picked as the Player of the Week. And I'm probably giving him an extra day just to make sure to get those 2 starts in there, because it kind of carried over another day to Monday. But I got to go with Christopher Sanchez for what he's done. I mean, not just that, the month of June, month of May, too. We could go back to what he's had the whole season for the most part. But I'm going to talk about this past week or so. It's been a couple starts that he had. He's had 2 starts. He went 2-0. One of them was a complete game shutout. That was a 3-hitter. But the other one, he pitched 7 innings, didn't give up 3 hits again. But the kicker to me, and we talked about it earlier with him, there was no walks. No walks in those 16 innings, and there were 13 strikeouts. So he's not putting any undue stress of people being on in it, and it's been pretty much ho-hum his last 2 outings this past week to watch him pitch. It's been very impressive, and so that's what I mean. He's my pick for the week. So obviously you can say he gave up no runs, 6 hits, no walks, 13 Ks, and obviously no runs. So that's why he's the
and a nice long-term deal.
Yes. Oh, and here's some extra money for you.
Extra money, and then he went off, right?
Yeah,
wow,
he did.
It's amazing.
I'm so happy for him, and you're right. I think Brandon, you said earlier, you don't see development that quickly or that spectacularly often. I mean. Didn't take him long.
No, and it's crazy because he came over from a pretty pitching-rich organization.
Yes.
They kind of just said, look, we haven't been able to figure him out. Let's do what we can. They got one of the Phillies' top young prospects, kid that was from Australia. I can't remember his name. Curtis Mead, yes. Yeah. And so I don't know how he's been doing. I don't cover that system. But anyway, just the fact that the strides that I saw from when they first got him till last year, I was just like, whoa, he was a total 180.
Well, see, that we hit on it earlier, I think, with he pitches his on the 5th day, his day he pitches, but he watches like his next 4 days, he's watching some pretty good guys pitch too.
Some
and
really
one in particular I think has had a real influence on him is Ranger. Just his demeanor. He sort of has that demeanor, but he pitched, I mean, that type of thing, and their pitching repertoire, the way they attack hitters. I mean, and obviously you see him. I mean, what's been so impressive too, the ballpark he's playing in is basically it flies out of here like you playing in your backyard. Sometimes when it gets hot out there, ball flies out of Citizens Bank. He's given up 1 home run.
That's amazing.
It's and it's that's all year, isn't it? I think 1 home run. It's remarkable. As if he gives up some hits or gets some guys on, his innate ability to be able to get that ground ball and get that double play balls in.
Always one pitch away, right?
It's unbelievable. I wish I had that ability. Yeah.
Don't we all?
Back in the day. Well, I got myself in some trouble, man. I had to figure out other ways to get out of it.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special treat for you. Making his radio debut to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," Easton Duckworth.
Come on, let's hear it, brother.
What I will ask of
he might do it.
You want to do it? Sure. Okay,
oh, he'll do it.
Wow, he's not shy.
The seventh inning stretch. Here we go.
Don't mess up.
You ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Don't scream, though.
I'll try not to. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I'll ever get back. So it's root for the Phillies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Well done.
Man, he played it up to the
yes,
right.
He did.
Did he
that
not?
shocked the fire out of me to see that guy come up.
I might have to call Cashman and say, man, I don't know.
Easton Duckworth.
What does that song remind you of back in the day?
Harry Carey.
Harry Carey looking out of the dugout, and Harry's hanging out the window. 1,
Yes.
2. I thought he was going to flip out of that thing. Many beers he had.
Easton, we live stream our show. So we have video of you singing that.
Yes,
Oh,
it's going to be
boy.
good.
Which your parents
Wait till you show Mom
can
that.
access. Hey, Brandon, for those of you who, those of our live audience and listening audience who may be unaware, could you explain a little bit about your role as a scout for the New York Yankees and what you do?
Yes.
Yeah, in essence, you know, my role is I have multiple organizations to cover from the major leagues down. So I have the Philadelphia Phillies and then the Washington Nationals. So I'll cover them from their major league clubs all the way down to their low A ball. And then I also cover our New York Yankees system from top to bottom, from major leagues all the way through the Dominican Summer League. So I have those 3 organizations on top of I typically go to Japan / Korea every year for a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, depending. So
stomping grounds.
Yeah. So I'm a world traveler, but you know, in essence, I'm writing reports on every single guy, from all their prospects, who I think their best prospects are, compared to what maybe out there in some of these like MLB.coms and you know Baseball Savants and whatnot. As far as my rankings of their players, how they would fit for us in a need. And so on and so forth. And that's what we utilize to facilitate trades in any certain time with some of these organizations. So, you know, if there's a trade going on, then I'm involved. And they'll say, hey, what do you think? This is who they're willing to give up. This is who they want, you know, and then I can kind of help steer the ship and say, hey, I like this guy. Maybe this guy's a guy that nobody really knows about. So you're trying to find some of those guys, kind of the, you know, a diamond in the rough, if you will. Because everybody knows the top prospects. Now it's a matter of, do you see certain guys before it gets out there? You know, and that's happened a number of times where I'm like, oh, I really like this guy, and then all of a sudden they hit, and they're, you know, they'll say, wow, you were on that one. I'm like, I saw him at the right time. And a lot of times it's about seeing guys at the right time.
Is there a guy?
Yes, I mean, because that's what people talk to you. There's a lot of guys with great ability, and some people piece it together at a different time. Mm-hmm. Some they got the ability and the talent, but they never piece it together.
Yep, 100%.
You know, and that's it. Is in you being at the right place at the right, seeing that light bulb go off.
Yep. Maybe they made that switch, kind of like a Christopher Sanchez. I
Guys,
saw him later.
I'm sorry to interrupt. That's it.
Oh, we could go all night.
Let's
go.
For Tommy Greene and
us
Brandon
going, Chris.
Duckworth, a pair of excellent former Phillies pitchers. I'm Dan Baker. Thanks to producer Chris Ermer. See you next week at Chickies and Pete's in Warrington, Pennsylvania.
You're listening to 1490 WB.